Good morning, church. I pray that you continue to stand firm in your foundation of Jesus. And I pray and hope that as you look back and reflect on your spiritual journey thus far, that you can see and notice the small improvements or growth that you're making. And if not, let's continue to work on that so we can get you to a place where you feel like and you see the progress being made, even if it's small baby steps. With that, let's begin. Life can be challenging at times, and I think we all know that. And there are moments when, life is fantastic. It's just great. Everything is wonderful. You feel like you're on top of the world. You feel like you can do anything and everything. But then we also have these moments in our lives where things are not so great, not so fantastic, not so wonderful. We all experience down moments, and we may experience some dark times. And whenever we find ourselves in moments of struggle or moments of being down, usually there are two ways in which we can receive help, or in which people can respond to us, or you can respond to people. We can show sympathy, or we can show empathy. So what's the difference? Let me explain further with an example. Now, I've shared this analogy before, but I always like to compare life to a roller coaster. Now, I'll tell you straight off the bat, I'm not a fan of roller coasters. It's scary, it's really not that fun, and to be honest, I don't know why people pay so much money to go on roller coasters. Now, if you've ever ridden one at Six Flags, Disneyland, or in Korea, Lotte World, or Everland, you know that a roller coaster has its ups and has its downs. And very rarely will you ride a roller coaster that doesn't have any. Maybe the kid ones, but even those have slight ups and downs. Now, for someone who is scared of roller coasters, like myself, it's always helpful to have somebody there, like someone actually with you on the roller coaster. But let me put it into perspective. Would you rather have someone ride the roller coaster with you, or would you rather have them just watch you on the ground and just kind of support you from there as they watch you go up and down all over the place, right? I don't know about you, but definitely for me, I would rather have somebody actually on the roller coaster with me, holding my hand, reassuring me, hyping me up, telling me it's okay. There's a big difference with somebody being on the roller coaster, going through the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs with you, than somebody on the ground just saying, oh yeah, you got this, like, go, 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 as they're laughing and taking pictures of you, right? So you see, someone on the ground watching after the roller coaster ride could come to you and comfort you, or try to, and say, hey, I understand how you feel right now. Your insides probably feel like they're about to come out, but it's okay, you'll be fine. At least you haven't thrown up quite yet, or at least the ride is over. And you might be thinking, what do you know, right? How do you know how I feel when you just watched me and probably laughed at my pain? Or for the person that actually rode with you, and for them to comfort you, it's like, yeah, man, like, I truly understand how you feel. Like, I feel exactly the same way that you do. I know that pain. I'm here with you. I feel you. I understand. I connect with you. And that's a big difference. And that's the difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is when we're looking from the outside. We're watching and we're understanding while we're away from the roller coaster. While empathy, on the other hand, is when we're on the roller coaster together. We're feeling and we're connecting with exactly what you're going through. Today, we continue with Hebrews, and we're moving now into chapter 2. Now, the beginning of chapter 2 describes the importance of paying attention to what was mentioned yesterday, basically in the last chapter, about the significance of who Jesus is, and then this transition into talking more about the nature of who Jesus was. So remember, yesterday we learned that Jesus is God and that he is the glow or the radiance of God's glory. And so that's why it's important that we continue to look at Jesus. But now Hebrew points to how and why we can really lean and depend on Jesus in all things, and really why Jesus is superior. Look at Hebrews chapter 2 verse 17 to 18. It says, "For this reason he had to be made like them, fully human in every way, in order that he might become a merciful and faithful high priest in service to God, and that he might make atonement for the sins of the people. Because he himself suffered when he was tempted, he is able to help those who are being tempted." Now, Hebrew talks about this idea later again in chapter 4, but from verse 10 to the end of this chapter specifically, we find Hebrews painting this picture of Jesus as someone who was like us. In other words, Jesus knows how to sympathize with us, and he knows how to empathize with us. You see, Jesus is not only the person standing there watching you on the roller coaster, Jesus is the person on the roller coaster with you. He feels, he connects, he understands truly what we are going through. Now remember, for Jewish Christians who are reading this at the time, this is super important because a high priest for them is someone that represented the people, and people wanted someone that could understand them. So one of the many qualifiers for becoming a high priest is being someone of the people that comes from them. And so you see the beautiful picture of that is being painted here is that Jesus is our high priest who truly can and does represent us. Now, I don't know about you, but I think it's extremely reassuring to know that we serve and worship a God that actually cares about us, that actually is with us in our suffering and in our temptations. You see, Jesus as a teenager, I'm sure he knew the frustration of having parents that didn't truly understand his real calling. As a carpenter, I'm sure he knew of the difficulties and the demands of working with customers that had really unrealistic expectations. As a leader, I'm sure he must have had pain and concern for the lack of understanding that his disciples had. And when he was being attacked, accused for the claims that he made, he experienced betrayal and false accusations. And he knew the pain, that stinging pain of the lashes and the exhaustion of carrying a heavy cross, the cruelty of the soldiers as they pounded nails into his hands and his feet. And as he hung on that cross for hours, his bones being pulled from the sockets, and the weight of the world's sin and the distance he started to feel from the Heavenly Father, till the moment that he was laid to rest in that tomb. You see, through Jesus, God does know. And I'm so glad we worship a God that actually sympathizes and empathizes with us. So church, this is my prayer for you. Jesus, you are indeed my high priest because you truly understand